Welcome back. We're the Book Mavens. I'm Rachel. This is Amanda. You might notice that our video is a little different this time. We are Book Mavens COVID edition. My household is exposed. I have a few members in my house that tested positive. I'm kind of in this weird gray area like just for testing. And so so Amanda and I could not film together this time, but we're here and we're ready to break down the second book to the Blood of Stars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Blood of Stars. So, yeah, duology with the second book, Unravel the Dusk. So the last episode we talked about the first one, which was Spin the Dawn, and so we're going to be talking about the conclusion to this duology this episode. And so yes, I'm in my house. This is my room. This is my fur baby. You can see her back here. This is Lulu. So not only an Albus, we have a Lulu. All right, Amanda.
All right, so Unravel the Dusk picks up where it picks up with Maya, she has successfully made the dresses. She has successfully returned to the palace. She has freed Idan from the oath, but she is slowly turning into a demon. That was the price that she paid to free Idan. So it picks up basically on like, how are we, because they're still being invaded, they're still under attack, and she's turning into a demon, so she's still got problems. And this is where we'll probably start talking about spoilers pretty quick. So if you're planning to read it, now would be the time to pause. Come back late, after you read it. It's another fast read, I would say. It's actually a little bit shorter than the first one. I still enjoyed it. I like the pace.
There's a bit more urgency to this one than we had with the first one.
Mm-hmm. This one's definitely more like, the war battle focus.
More plot driven.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a really good one though. I really liked, you learned a lot more about the magic, like how Idan became an enchanter, but how the demons came to be, how she has gotten stuck with basically how the demons kind of trick humans, and how the curse for Maya works, because she's changing into a demon. So you keep kind of learning these new things about demons as she slowly is transitioning and forgetting herself. She's also reunited with her family, which is really nice. I love that the family dynamic remains. Like, there are still moments where her brother is like making fun of her, and she still doesn't like want to tell her father about Idan, because she's like, ooh. And her brother's like, listen, everybody knows. Everybody knows. So, ship sailed on that one. Yeah. What did you think of the way Lady Sinai?
And I but I told you in the first book, I said, I don't think that she is like a villain. And she kind of was a little morally gray, but everything that they did with her storyline in this book was just so great, because you really get to understand what her beef was with her dad. You understand that her dad made this horrible bargain, and it just took everything that was really human about him away. And her mourning that loss, I think, is there. And then also she's so like, she's a badass kind of character, and I like that. She knows what needs to be done and what obstacles are there, and she's not afraid to do the hard things. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't always make her likable, but she's a very compelling character for me. So I really enjoyed it. And I think I said that if you were familiar with The Six Crimson Cranes, the other book that Elizabeth Lim has written, she also kind of does that a little bit in her story there too, where you think perhaps somebody is just this really terrible person, but then you find out they have reasons for doing what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And they become probably the most complex characters of her story. And I think Sarnai's story was awesome.
I really liked it. I mean, I was obviously sad at the end, because
she experiences a tremendous loss, but she's somebody who's always going to pick herself up and do what needs doing. And I like the amount of respect that grows between Sarnai and Maya. I thought was really good.
I love the way that Maya calls for help. I love that she made the match. So she takes little threads from the carpet and she makes these little fabric birds, little fabric cranes, and uses the flying carpet threads to make them able to fly. And she like sends out like 100 or like hundreds of them. Very reminiscent of I really like the way she weaved in the fable, like the woman who made 1,000 cranes each night. And Edan kind of just casually mentions, I met her. And you're like,
That's the Crimson Cranes. They're in the same universe.
yeah. But that's actually really a fable, if you will, or a folktale. Like, I really liked the way she worked in a lot of it felt believable. It felt real. I just really loved it. There was kind of this nice crossover between, actual historical fables and tales when she's overlaid this magic system in such a like kind of lovely, believable way, which I really enjoy. Because sometimes people to like make the magic work, sometimes it doesn't work. Like when you're overlying it on a like this is based on Chinese culture, right? And Chinese history. And so sometimes when you overlay a fantasy system over like a historical event, it doesn't always work. Like sometimes it just doesn't match. She's just weaved them together so beautifully that it seems very believable to me. Like there's part of my mind that's like,
yeah, she has that Middle Eastern vibe in there as well with Edan's background and everything. So I did with the magic carpet, and everything is some genie qualities going on. So I really like that she was really good at kind of weaving to get, like you said, just there's a lot of stuff going on, not just with the Chinese mythology and history, but some other cultures as well. So I really appreciated that. It was cool. It was a different read. I liked it. It was inventive.
What's your favorite side character?
Well, I like Sarnai. I don't know if you would count her as a side character. She's
I don't really count her as a side character, but that's a good point.
I liked her a lot. Edan's not really in it very much to me compared to his presence in the first book. So the romance gets kind of sidelined, which is okay for me. If you have a really strong plot, I always prefer the romance to be secondary to a strong plot and character development. So I liked it there. And, he had his own things to do. He's going to try and get trained, and that was important. And
I love that in the end too. Like that it was important for them to have their own passions, but they still,
Oh no, it's got a great ending, a lot of respect between the two. No one's having to give up anything. It's always nice.
I did love that. I was like, oh, and then they tied it up in this nice, neat little bow package. I loved Amy. May.
Oh yeah.
May was how I was saying it in my mind. I'm not sure if that's right. AMMI. I loved her too. She was like, girls got.
She was in the first one too. I had a little crush on her, on Maya, when she thought she was a boy.
Yeah, and then she's like, well, you're a girl, so I need friends. Let's be friends.
I like the cuteness between her and the brother was really cute too towards the end.
It's true.
Where he liked her and wanted to go visit and stuff into the book.
Oh, I loved that too. He's like, well, because they even hint at it, like when everybody first arrives from the fabric birds and like Amy's there and she like becomes the head cook. He's always like, well, yeah, Amy's great. Distract. Like he like changes the topic so fast. He's like, yeah, she's great. How about that enchanter?
But I'm gonna totally change it, but I have to think before I lose it. I totally got this Harry Potter Dumbledore meeting in the afterlife.
Okay.
Did you not feel that? Like I'm like, oh my god, this is like meeting Dumbledore.
Yeah.
when she meets up with her mother. Sorry.
That was so beautiful. I loved it because the mom's legacy is such kind of an overarching theme for the whole family, really, and like this kind of enduring legacy. And even the moment she has, even the moment she has with her brothers, is lovely. But the one with the mom,
a lot of closure. I felt.
Was that your favorite scene?
I mean, I loved when her brothers came and fought the ghosts. I thought that was really cool. To me, that was very much of a I see the problem is that when you start really delving deep into fantasy, you start noticing patterns. And you can see where people have been influenced by certain things. So I'm like, oh my goodness, this is Lord of the Rings. He's calling like all of the old ghosts, the old human kings coming. You know what I mean? So that's the vibe I got for that scene. That's so I giggled a little bit. I'm like, oh my goodness. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
You know, when he calls on the oath and they all come to fight. And so that's just what I got from it. But I love everything what they did about her using the dresses was done so beautifully. Like I would love to see it, you know, there's a lot of great imagery in this. I would love to have seen those dresses do what they did. It just sounds incredible.
I would love to see this adapted for the screen, honestly. Like because you're right. But it's just the right amount. Like sometimes people, because the book moves so quickly, for me, she hits just this right balance, because sometimes people like, they really belabor the imagery at the detriment of the story. And I feel like she just strikes this really beautiful balance, because she's talking, like she's using fabrics and nature motifs to like describe things. And like it just really it just really weaves this like phenomenal visual image in your mind that I would love to see translated to the screen. I mean, I think it could be cool.
This is why I want you to read The Night Circus. The Night Circus also has that kind of ethereal, just in terms of just how beautiful things are described, you know, that I would just love to see it happen. That would be so cool. That had a lot of the same qualities. But yes, I did like when she did get to meet her mother and that choice she had to make. That's what really the Harry Potter Dumbledore, you could stay and be tailored to the gods kind of deal, right? Or you could go back, that choice. And you know, so I like that. And the fact that her other being, right, because Edan was the hawk, right, that hers was the phoenix. And I thought that was just really stunningly beautiful. Like that would have just been so pretty, you know, just amazing to see.
Oh my gosh. And that line, it's just so perfect. I think she said, yeah. And I suddenly realized what form I'd taken. A phoenix meant to rise again. And I was like, oh. So
yeah.
That's not even the end of the chapter, guys. I had to pause and like take a minute and then keep reading down the page, because I was like, oh, that's good.
It was really beautiful. It was a beautiful journey. The 2 books, they're just enough. And I think in like the previous episode we did, we talked about how some of these authors, especially with fantasy, it's so tempting to want to just overstuff and to just make them just too long, where things get repetitive and you feel like you're kind of going in circles, and or just not moving at all. You're just in a standstill. And these 2 books, you had a steady pace going the entire time. You had things where there were senses of urgency, but you also had that character development, this nice little romance, and there was this overarching huge political plot going on, and the magic, everything just worked out. The books were just the right size. It was a Goldilocks situation. It was just right. You didn't need more. You everything, all of your knots were tied off at the end. Stick with the sewing themes. And like nothing was really left undone. And so I really appreciated that about this. It was a very tightly written duology. And I really love that. And I love that she connects it with her other book, which she's writing another one for, that it's still in that same universe. So I love this idea that I could read Six Crimson Cranes or the sequel to it and then find Edan in there somewhere. I love when
I'm looking for him.
Yeah, I don't. He wasn't mentioned in Six Crimson Cranes. So I'm hoping that he is in the next one.
I'm on the look.
Yeah, well, I told you need to read it. It's also just as beautiful.
I would love to read some more of her work. I really enjoyed her. She's, you know, I keep just harping on the pace, because sometimes, like I think you nailed it so perfectly. Especially some of the books we've been reading lately are larger series books. And this was just so nicely encapsulated. Like this is such a great like vacation book. This duology. Like if I was on an airplane, this would be amazing. I could read the first one, read the second one on my way back, or if I was like road tripping in the car, like these would be so great because they're moving fast enough that you're keeping engaged, but it really is, it's just such a good story, but I really enjoyed the pace. So
yeah, and you connect with the characters. I feel like you have enough time with the characters to be emotionally invested in that. Is it going to devastate you like Fitz did in the Robin Hobb series? No, you didn't spend 16 books growing it like you do with Hobb, but that's like they're just like in different compartments for me. But like these two books, they were really good. I think they're a perfect form of escapism, something that's not going to leave you in any kind of book slump. You can read these and just have a nice little and be able to continue on. The great getting over a book slump books as well. I thought they were really, really well done.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
they were good. I would rate both of them. It's like if you were going to do like a star system. I mean, I think they're 5-star books for what they are. For the
I think I agree.
They're good.
If you know what they are, like if this is what you're looking for, self-encapsulated adventure, yeah, I go this. I mean, I've been recommending it to lots of people as I've been reading it. So
it's good. I mean, with the romance and everything, I would not consider them spicy. I mean, there's a little bit of physical stuff going on, but it's nothing.
It's very like fade to black, if you will. Like, it's very
it's low key. I mean, it's there, but it's not explicit. It's not in your face, and it's appropriate, if that makes sense. Like it fits with the story. It doesn't feel gratuitous in any kind of way. So, which for the book, the kind of book that it is and the story they were telling, it just fits perfectly. Nothing just jumped out at you as being out of place in any way. Which sometimes they do that. Sometimes, you read things and you just feel like, okay, why is this scene in here? Like, what is this? Is this necessary?
Or why is like, I don't know, 400 pages of the book
trying to make it for like shock value, or are they trying to deliver on something that perhaps they felt they were lacking in previous books? Sometimes I feel like that with sequels and long series, like if they didn't put something in there and maybe part of their fandoms complained about it, then they like overstack it in the next book and you're like, just like a lot of things happening. And that can be quite jarring. We'll talk more of that with Mass, but you know what I'm saying. It can be a little.
Oh, I do. Because well, that video is finally coming. Because now that I have finished Throne of Glass, so that video will be coming at some point.
Waiting.
Yeah, keep waiting though, because like I'm telling you, we got feelings.
That'll be a good one.
Yeah.
But but these two books, these were so good. You need to show. See, this is the UK cover that you can see.
US cover.
And they're both beautiful, but the colors are so different. It's really fun.
It has a picture of the 6 Crimson Crane cover on the back of the American cover. Oh, and it is very different than the one you showed in the hall. See?
Mm-hmm. And I think they're all beautiful. There's a book that just released that I'll have 2 copies of because of my subscription boxes, because I pre-ordered. Daughter of the Moon Goddess, which to me, the reason why I mentioned it is because to me it's a similar vein, a little like more Asian mythology inspired, which I'm really looking forward to it, and it has a beautiful cover. So I got the UK one of that one, and then I also will have a special Fairy Loot edition of that, and I'll show it. It's going to be really pretty. And then, but the US version is also beautiful. So like, I don't know if I need 3 copies of the same book, but just the cover art's really, really special. So
the Potter Collector has like, I don't know, 30 I don't know how many, probably more than that. So
I'm going to have 3 versions of the Woman Kingdom, which is another new release.
I mean, this is where you and I are so different in terms of our approaches to things. I'm interested in like, what's the most durable copy, or what is like the copy I can borrow, or, like library, whatever. And you are so, you look at them like little works of art, and like,
I do.
and I love that. See, I look at them for utility, and you look at them as art, and they both work, but it's one of our wonderful differences.
Well, I will still primarily read digital. And depending on the copy and how durable I think it is, like I most likely will not pick up like a Fairy Loot or a Bookish Box edition. Like, for example, since I'm home and I can show you. Like this was the book, this was the November Bookish Box special edition. So you can see the foiling, and it has the sprayed edges and everything. I would not, and it's signed, and it has all these lovely end pages and everything else in here. It's beautiful. But I would not sit here and read this book. Like I wouldn't want to damage it, especially with leaving like the cover on it and stuff like that. It is fine. Mm-hmm. But and it's just stunning. Even if you strip her down, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful book. And you just wouldn't want to damage it. It is like having a piece of art. So when I'm ready to read this, I will read it digitally. So
this is something to look at and touch and enjoy.
That's right. That's how I feel about it. But
I think maybe that's what it is. I'm kind of a rough and tumble reader. Like I keep a book in my bag, or it's in my car, or I do tend to like the physical over the digital. And so I think maybe that's it too, is like I just need one that can stand up under my life. If it's maybe it's like I view sunglasses. I never pay more than like $5 or $8 for sunglasses, because then when I break them or lose them, I don't feel bad. Maybe that's my attitude with books, because then if I like smoosh a page or get something on it, like I don't feel as bad because it wasn't as beautiful. And maybe that's not the right attitude, but there it is.
I didn't buy physical copies forever because I have small children, and I have a 2-year-old who can be very, very hard on things. So I have to be careful. So if I'm going to be in my living room and stuff, I'll go back and forth. And it often depends on like the type of book it is, because if it's super stiff and it's going to bend a lot, I won't handle those too much. If it's something that I really enjoy that I want to keep on a shelf, then I will primarily read digital. But some of the other ones, like I will have to say, Orbit, the publisher, they create those really like nice, like floppier books.
Yeah, this one was like the first one, super
and
floppy.
Yeah. So, but some of the other ones, UK editions we talked about, they could be a little short and it's just stiffer. So you don't want to, crack the spine and things like that if you're really particular about holding on to your books. You don't want to do things like that. So it just depends on what kind of book reader you are, but I do look at them as pieces of art. So when I see a really pretty cover, I really hope that it's a good book. But I'm probably not going to hold on to a lot of books that I don't at least find passing. Like I wouldn't be able to just look at it and be like I hated that book. I wouldn't want it staring at me all the time. So I'd have to stick with the ones I can at least tolerate.
I love it. All right. Any other? I'm scratching my eyeball. Interactive.
Well, let's talk about what we have going on now, because we finished this duology. So our next project, we are tackling a trilogy,
but
slowly, because we are doing, this is a book club read for us that we do with a couple of our former students. And we picked The City of Brass, which is the first to the Davabad. But I don't know how it's pronounced.
I'm doing an audiobook too, and that's how they pronounce it, is Davabad.
There we go. Davabad trilogy, which this has been highly recommended. You can see, look,
y'all, it's good.
All damaged, but it's all right. So we're going to be discussing The City of Brass in our next episode, and we of course will be reading Kingdom of Copper and Empire of Gold, I think is the third one. So
but those videos are spaced out because we are reading them with the book group. We're trying to like be respectful and not rush ahead. But it's really good so far. Like, oof, it's good.
I'm enjoying it.
So we have that, and then so we'll be doing some kind of standalone books in between it through February. And then we have something special cooked up for March, but we'll tell you more about that later.
Yes, Amanda's very excited about March.
I'm super excited. I mean, we'll tell you when we get there.
We'll have some special episodes. We do still plan on doing our mask versus mask video.
Yeah. So hopefully soon we'll be able to be like together again and filming together. So we'll hopefully that'll be soon. All right, you want to take us out?
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell icon to be reminded when we release new videos every week, every Tuesday. And we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.